Hey everyone, I wanted to quickly give my reactions to the new Monster Hunter Rise trailer we just got during the Monster Hunter digital event for January 2021, and something I've been talking about the past few days. If you've been following my channel, you know that I've been covering the heck out of this game, pertaining to all news coming out of Capcom for this massive upcoming release, and more specifically, the leaked information we got back in November pertaining to Rise. In my last video, I covered what we should expect to see from this trailer according to all of the leaks, and to my surprise, but I honestly shouldn't be, everything was 100% accurate. Not only that, but we got a whole heck of a lot more than we originally could have ever hoped for. This is now the third major trailer for the game, and we now have a pretty clear-cut idea that 100% of the leak was completely accurate all along. The data for the last two trailers was spot on, and this game is looking much more impressive than ever before. Alright, so starting out, we get to see a quick set of shots featuring the Frost Islands, the new Frozen map that was originally believed to be called the Frozen Archipelago, the new monster, several shots of Camera Village not previously seen before, and like the training area, the new Mauser buddies, and a bit of exploration. Gauss Herak is actually the name of the lauded Namahage bear monster that we heard so much about during the leaks, and just like the leaks spoke about, his armor is indeed the one that we saw back during the Great Sword reveal trailer. What we didn't actually know, and we actually got a hint from director Ichinose about the day that I actually posted the last video, was that this monster actually has a lot more in common with Glavolus and Brachydios. He will boost his arm and perhaps even change the element used by changing the color of it and completely changing his moveset in an enraged form. All in all, this is a fascinating new monster that's more traditional in look, unlike Somnacanth and Bishaten. Then we get a pretty good look at Lagambi, one of those leak monsters that we spoke about several times, and one of those ice monsters that makes so much sense to see back in the game. His tossing snowballs mechanic is back, and just about everything about him checks out. We then quickly transition to Kesu, everyone's favorite phallic wyvern. They showed him eating a baggie and doing Kezo-like stuff. I do love how disgusting he actually looks, and overall I'm really enjoying the new renders for most of these monsters that are being brought back. There's so much detail in each one of them that was not available there before, and I just love all the care they put into each one of them. Great Baggy was showcased right after Kezu, and this is now the second Great Lizard making a return with Ragi. The only one still missing is Jaggy, of course, and perhaps we'll get to see him showcased in one of those Twitter posts as we go into the future. Fingers crossed. As far as monster reveals, that's all I covered in the last video, and that's all we were supposed to get, quite honestly. Barioth was also mentioned in the leak, but he wasn't showcased at all. Instead, during the trailer we get to see a quick glimpse of Barioth during the fight sequence. However, in the gameplay bits they showed afterwards, they fully feature Barioth as she should have been during the trailer. It's a weird decision, but perhaps during the trailer they simply didn't want to overwhelm all of the viewers. What we certainly weren't expecting to see during this trailer was Tigrex. This is another leaked monster that we knew about, and one of those brute favorite ones that we were expecting to see for a while now. He was always rumored to be showcased in the ice map since that is his natural habitat, but simply wasn't included in the leak when pertaining specifically to this trailer. Yet here he was. He basically took Barioth's place in the trailer, and the reason for that is probably because they transitioned right into the introduction of wyvern riding. This is something that was part of the leak, and it was always expected to be this game's version of mounting monsters. But the thing is, it's much more than mounting. For starters, you can mount any of the monsters, not just wyverns, and something that doesn't kinda make sense for the name to begin with. But regardless, it's a Silkbind move that's only triggered after you damage the monster enough or done several Silkbind attacks towards it. Once triggered, you mount the monster and actually control its movement for a limited set amount of time. You then have several options. You can use the monsters to attack another monster, or actually like in Monster Hunter World with the Clutch Claw, run them into walls. This does some serious damage and knocks them down in the aftermath, so they're still taking those World's mechanics but adding them in a way that it actually makes sense in this game. Another complete surprise in this trailer is the gameplay reveal of Magnamallow. Finally, the flagship monster and the box-covered creature gets some time in the spotlight. We get to see a wide range of its attack that he uses with his tail as the source of his purple flare power. And then we get to see an amazing turf war between Magnamallow and Rathalos that culminates with the hunter mounting Rathalos and launching an assault on Magnamallow. You can actually tell that wyvern riding is fully incorporated into these hunts, and honestly, I can't wait to check it out. The last bit of news that we got during the trailer is, surprise surprise, Mitsusune is back in the game, and she's fully featured later on during the gameplay bits, where her bubbles are back just like expected, and she's fully back in the game as pertaining to the leak. The funny thing is that we were supposed to see her during the last trailer, but they decided to showcase her during this trailer instead, another one of those weird decisions. After the trailer, we did get to see a few more tidbits of information that during the trailer they just simply hinted at. We saw several new NPCs as discussed in the leak, like Hojo, the guildmaster in the village, that just so happens to be on top of a Dogogama, which I found quite amusing. Master Itsushi is the leader of the hunters of the village. Iori is the Palamute and Palico handler. Kogarashi is the feline chief in charge of the Meowsers, which only they name but did not go into full detail. Expect this to be a fully broken down feature during a Twitter reveal in the near future. And lastly, rondean, an exotic trailer from overseas. One of the facilities shown is the hunting grounds, something that people loved in Monster Hunter World and is now back in this game with its very own dummy as a way to whack away at it and get good and learn your mechanics. The last thing that they spoke about was the demo that's supposed to launch later today at 3 PM or tomorrow the 8th according to Twitter. Honestly, it could have been a mix-up, but we'll see soon enough. The point is, expect the demo to drop extremely soon and something that was already covered in the leak. I'm honestly just surprised we didn't get news for one single thing, the expected Monster Hunter Rise themed Nintendo Switch. I would have thought that this was the perfect time to reveal it, but they didn't even mention it at all. Perhaps we'll get news about it during the Nintendo Direct later this month, but honestly, who actually knows? Nintendo's actually in that weird position right now where they could actually reveal so many things if they decide to host a Direct, but because there's just so much pending information and so many uncertainties going into the year because of last year's pandemic and still carrying on to this year, we just simply don't have any idea when they'll be willing to share more information. And if they decided to withhold any of it and wait for Capcom to do it themselves, you would have imagined this was the perfect time to do so, but again, weirdly enough, they decided not to. If Nintendo does do it on their own, then that makes a lot of sense, but ultimately I think this is a Capcom call to make, not a Nintendo one. But that's about it for me. I'm just excited to see this game, and we got so much more information than I would have honestly ever expected. I did notice a couple of little things. This build does look a little bit different visually. There was something going on with the shading that visually looked a little bit different than before. I'm not saying that as the downgrade by any means, but I'm just hoping that the demo clears up some misconceptions regarding the performance and specifically the visuals. If you're new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya!